Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to give a couple of moments here just to allow folks to filter into the chat for anyone who is joining us live today. And in the meantime, you can always take a look at our lovely starting slide. Get excited for today's chat. I know I'm excited. Are you excited, Leah?
I'm very pumped for this call today. Very excited.
Awesome. Me too. Me too. Well, I feel like you can't get any more California than the movie industry, can you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. California is the entertainment capital of the world. So, the right place.
Awesome, awesome. Well, my name, for those of you who don't know yet, is Jenna Quinn, and it's my pleasure as the Assistant Director of Alumni and Affinity Engagement to welcome you all to this edition of the 49er Industry Chat. Um, just a couple of housekeeping items. Just need to inform everyone that the session is being recorded. So really what that means for you is that this is going to be available to you again on demand on our website at www.csulb.edu/alumni. And since this is a webinar format, we encourage you all who are here today to use that Q&A box to submit questions for our guest speakers, for our guest speaker. And with that, I am very happy to introduce Leah Medrano. Welcome, Leah.
Hi, Jenna. So excited to be here today. Thank you for having me. So grateful.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the time.
Yeah, no, I love having you here. Let me just read your bio just a little bit so that way we can all just learn a little bit about you. So, Leah was appointed by Governor Gavin Newsom as the Deputy Director at the California Film Commission. In this role, Leah combines her extensive production office experience with over 20 years of experience in government relations. She's responsible for overseeing the state's film and TV tax credit program and Soundstage filming program, ensuring these initiatives support the state's thriving film and television industry. Her strategic vision and leadership have significantly contributed to retaining film and television productions in California, along with the creations of thousands of creative jobs in the Golden State. Before her tenure at the California Film Commission, Leah had a distinguished blended career in government and entertainment. She worked at Fox television station, MTV Networks, Fox Sports, and LA News Group's CBS2 and KCAL9. And she also held positions with the California Highway Patrol and the California Department of State Hospitals. Leah is a member of Women in Film, Film Independent, and the Geena Davis Institute on Gender and Media. As a passionate advocate for arts, media, and entertainment, Leah also devotes her time to teaching dance classes at a local studio for more than a decade. Leah is a graduate of CSULB, and she holds a bachelor's degree in communication studies and a master's degree in education, emphasis on the social and cultural analysis of education. Leah, you are a busy person.
I am, Jenna, to say the least. Yes, but I'm truly excited to be here with you today and go beach. And also from my master's program, we said go teach. So go beach and go teach.
I love it. We still say that today. I think they added go lead onto it,
Ah,
but
I love that.
yeah.
I love
Go
that.
beach, go teach, go lead. So I
Gotta
love that,
take
keeping the
note of that.
tradition alive. Yeah. Well, let's start off with just a little bit about, I know I read a little bit about your background, but let's take it back even further. Can you tell me about your life and your experiences and what really led you to come to CSULB in the first place?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jenna. So my trajectory getting into Cal State Long Beach hasn't been quite a linear experience when it comes to coming out of high school onto college. As many students who attend Cal State Long Beach, I was a commuter student. So I would drive from my workplace and then attend classes in the evenings. So very early on, my parents have instilled in me, this really strong work ethic. So right after high school, I was able to get admitted to a number of state schools here in California. But also, my parents had an opportunity to move to the East Coast since my father was in the military. So, weighing out the different options and also knowing that I already had a full time position within the state of California right out of high school, I figured, 18-year-old, oh, I want to be with my friends and such, that I would remain here in the Golden State while my parents moved away to the East Coast. And 15 years later, through school from bachelor's to master's, I truly am very excited that I made that decision to stay here in California. And I'll chime in on why it took me about 15 or so years in finishing my bachelor's and master's. But truly, as I was working full time, as you mentioned in my bio, I needed to make sure that number one, I pay the bills, right? Because I know a lot of students over at Cal State Long Beach are working students, working
That's right.
professionals, and having this really strong work ethic is a true ethos of the Cal State Long Beach community. So I was going to school in the evenings during my bachelor's, got my degree, and then moved to Hollywood and started working for the Film Commission, where I was able to attend a master's program. I was able to get a flexible schedule, again, going to school at 3:30 to 5 and then having that 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. classes twice a week. So I've been truly blessed in terms of having the opportunity to be able to work full time as well as go to school and get both degrees from Long Beach.
Yeah. And I mean, the two degrees that you have, communication studies, I can see absolutely going into either government or the film industry, right? It's such a versatile degree.
Yeah.
What made you want to go back for the master's in education?
So deep inside, I truly had a great sense of a teaching heart.
Mm.
Somebody once told me that in life, you're either a seller or a teacher. I would not be able to sell you anything, but I think I am able to teach you something. So I am very passionate about education, and I figured, especially having social issues that are very important more than ever, I focus masters in education and social and cultural aspects in education.
Yeah, that's great, and I mean, that's such a beautiful way to think of it, right?
Um,
I think that's great. But I mean, those are right, being at least in a lot of people's experience, right? The student experience as a going for your bachelor's degree versus going to your master's degree. Those are sometimes very different. So, what was your student experience like for both of the degrees?
It was both great and challenging at the same time because, as I mentioned, being a commuter student, I've always wanted to make sure that I had this great college experience, right? But at the same time, having to work while going to school needed to make sure that, I mean, traffic alone, you have to,
Right.
put in like at least an hour and a half to get to point A to point B. So, I was determined to make sure that even though I was not staying in the area around Long Beach, that I was able to participate in a lot of activities to have an enriched college experience. So during my bachelor's degree, I joined the Student Communication Association, and between 2005 to 2006, I was actually the student president for the Student Communication Association, where we were able to have some mentorship opportunities from alumni members, both from having communication degrees or non-communication degrees, whether it's public relations, business management, because ultimately communication is a key factor in our professional life, right? So it could
Yeah.
blend from personal life versus professional life. So we were able to conduct a lot of activities while I was the president of the SCA, Student Communication Association. And during my master's degree, I signed up for an alternative spring break program, and this was the inaugural study abroad program that Dr. Beverly Booker, big shout out to Dr. Booker. I believe she's in Howard University now. I think she had transferred universities, but back in 2013, during my master's degree program, we traveled to Ghana, West Africa. So for the spring
Oh,
semester, we had 3 to 4 classes leading up to spring break, where we spent about 10 days in Ghana. During that time, we visited schools and we had visited hospitals and immersed ourselves with the Ghanaian culture. So, again, being involved and having a passion in the arts, I was able to participate in a number of West African dance classes where that's actually where I focused my area of study during this program. What are
mm.
the implications of the tradition, and how does that affect our culture and arts here in the United States, and specifically here in California and LA, right? So it was truly such an enriching experience, both being the president of SCA and being able to take advantage of a study abroad program during the graduate study.
Wow, that's incredible. And I know that you teach a dance class now. Or some of the classes that you teach have any influence on that spring?
Definitely. It's definitely an inclusive and global influence when it comes to the choreographies that I create. So I'm challenging them and making sure that they work for the choreography is truly enriching.
Well, usually I like to ask folks, did you always know that you wanted to go into the field that you're in now? Or was it something that just kind of happened? But you're kind of unique in that you've had these extensive careers both in government and in entertainment and found some crazy way to marry them together. So, I mean, yeah, did you always know that you wanted to do one or both? How did you go through your career?
That's a great question. I mean, I remember as I was, during undergrad studies, I was not the only person where it's like, oh, I want to do real estate. Oh, I want to do dance. I want to do this. I want to do that. So I was a bit all over the place when it comes to focusing on one industry, right?
Mm.
But two things for sure. I had to continue working full time because I had to pay the bills. And I always knew deep down that I had a passion for the entertainment industry. So let me touch on the government side first.
Yeah, please do.
As
Tackle
I
this however you
mentioned,
want.
yeah. So as I mentioned earlier today, my parents have been truly great when it comes to making sure that, okay, make sure you show up to work, be on time, all of this stuff, right? All the great things. And between my mom, my grandmother, a couple of my aunts and my uncles, and even my brother to this date, collectively, I would say we have more than 100 or more years of state service working for the state of California.
That's
So
incredible.
yeah, so my grandma, may she rest in peace, had retired from the state. My mom retired from the state about 10 years ago. And same with my aunts and my uncles. I have a couple of cousins who work for the state, and my brother is up in Sacramento. He lives up there and he works for the state government also. So it was like a part of life growing up that, this auntie was working at this department. So early on, my mom was able to show me the ropes in terms of how to get into state service and instilling that public service commitment and work ethic. But I knew I didn't want to be in government all my life because I was truly interested in getting into the entertainment industry. So during my bachelor's, my undergraduate studies, I was able to intern in between
Mm.
working and going to school on weekends. So that was when I was able to be part of the Bachelor franchise and their casting, to say the least. That was very interesting experience that I had casting for The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and also a number of MTV and BET reality TV shows. But as any other industry, you truly have to work, and it's
Mm.
like it's a lot of work, right? Um, and it's mainly who do you know to actually get a gig. Okay. So I was creating these relationships, as you know, and which is a key factor in making sure that you land a full-time position at these production companies. And as I was having lunch one day when I was working at one of the state hospitals that you had mentioned earlier today, one of the psychologists had mentioned, had asked me what I was going to school for. So I mentioned to her, I'm studying communication studies. I want to get into the entertainment industry. And it turns out that her husband was, or still is, a director for one of the soap operas for CBS.
Oh, wow.
So then she had said, would you like me to put in a word for you? We can get you in CBS. And that's how I landed the internship and a production assistant work for CBS2 KCAL Channel 9 as a general news reporter intern. So again, building relations and making these connections are very significant, not just in the entertainment industry, but in any industry that we work in. And that's basically how I got into the entertainment world and continued to move up. When I got my degree in 2008, my bachelor's degree, I started working full time for Fox TV, but then that was also the same time when they had a writer strike. So I'm like,
Oh, that's
okay,
right.
gotta weigh my options. Do I want to continue with this work, knowing that I may get laid off because there was no productions happening at that time? So then I decided to return to state service. And
Gotcha.
that was when I was employed at the California Highway Patrol for 1 year. And then I transitioned over to the California Film Commission when the tax credit program was enacted into law in 2009. And now we're here.
Wow, that is an incredible story. First off, I can't wait to tell everybody here in this office about your foray into the Bachelor and Bachelorette casting because
Yeah.
over in this office, this is a that's a thing. Everybody
I
loves
mean,
it.
now I want to go back and be part of the Golden Bachelor and the Golden Bachelorette. I'm like,
Right?
who should I contact at ABC?
I know. I that's Hey, if you figure out who to contact, we have a couple candidates that we'd love to submit.
Ah, perfect. Noted.
Yeah, but I think that's incredible. I mean, from your family having this connection to state service and instilling that in you, all the way through your powerful story about networking, right? I think that's one of the things that we kind of like to ask here, like, how do you see networking? How do you see mentorship? And it goes to show you networking is you jump from one position to another because of someone's husband, right? Who had the
Yes,
right connection. So that's great.
absolutely.
Well, and in that, right? Um, how do you network today? Um, are there any sort of strategies or tips to building your network? Or is it honestly just the luck of the draw of who you're around?
Yeah, so since my role as the deputy director at the California Film Commission is very unique, um, we are part. I am a state employee. I'm an appointed position under the governor's office, and we have rank and file employees who are state employees. So we operate as a state entity. However, our main stakeholders, the public, are the production companies, right? Whether it's studio companies, Warner Brothers, HBO, Fox, Disney, Netflix, Amazon. And then we also have our independent production companies because they are eligible to apply for the tax credit program. And we have our commercial industries also, where we tend to providing different permits and such. So we deal with a lot of individuals, both from the public sector and the private sector. And this is why it again, I guess unique is the word of the day, right? Because this California Film Commission is a very unique department within the state of California because our stakeholders are mostly studio executives and production folks, but we still have to report to the governor at the end of the day. So, in terms of mentorships and keeping these connections, it is vital that we do
Mm.
that within our role at the Film Commission. Specifically in my role, as I mentioned, I deal with producers, executives, government relations folks, but we also have our operations team within the California Film Commission where our permits team would have to deal with the California Highway Patrol. They would have to deal with and make connections with our state beaches and state park liaisons because we do all the permitting for state parks, buildings, highways, freeways, state beaches. So having great relationships with these individuals are key in order to make sure that at the end of the day, we're able to provide the proper permit for this particular production, um, not only accurately, legitimately, and safely, right? Because
Mm.
we need to make sure that all of those components are put into place. And then lastly, we have a locations department within the California Film Commission where we work with different film liaisons throughout the state of California. I mean, the Golden State has over 800 miles of coastline, so we have great relations with different film commissioners throughout all the 58 counties that we have here in the Golden State. So again, very key factor is making sure that if they need assistance in terms of, okay, what is the proper film ordinance for, let's say, Shasta County or down in San Diego or the Bay Area, then we provide those kinds of services and guidance to these local jurisdictions.
That's incredible. And I mean, your work, it California is not a small state.
No.
So that
Yeah,
it's something that just gets its fingers and its tentacles all the way down the state is just that's really
absolutely.
impressive.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
unique.
It's very unique, yes. And then that's one of the misconceptions that we're trying to demystify right now because number one, not a lot of folks know about the California Film Commission. So we want to make
Mhm.
sure that we go out there and we tell everybody that hey, it's not that intimidating. You all
Mhm.
can get a tax credit, you can get a permit, you can get your student film approved, and we provide all kinds of assistance, whether it's giving you guidance on how to film with a drone, or if you're a parent and if you have a child who would like to be in a commercial, what are the permits that are needed when it comes to minors on set? What are some of the rules and regulations when it comes to that? So the services that we provide are just very vast, and we are here to support filmmakers here in California.
That is great. That's great that we have a department that does this, and I think that that is, definitely exciting for our students,
Yeah,
our students as well as just our general public. So I think that's great. But
100%. Mhm.
as the deputy director, right? Um, what is what does a typical day look like for you? What is I, I'm sure every day is probably unique.
Yes.
But what's the work that you're actually doing on the day to day?
Absolutely. So, I mean, just this week, we've had quite a very unique week as the governor recently announced a new proposal to enhance the tax credit program. So this week, the day to day would look like data collection, providing additional information to our legislators, to the governor's office, making sure that we provide backup data to ensure that the programs that we have put in place, such as the tax credit program, truly works. And it's mainly to make sure that, we're keeping all the jobs here in California, especially in light of the dual strikes that we had in our industry last year, both the
Right.
writer's strike and the actors strike. So um, it truly varies from day to day. One day I could be subpoenaed to attend a hearing in terms of um, dealing with a specific human resources related issue. The next day, we could be attending a press event with Governor Newsom. The following day, we're attending a production accounting graduation for this one program that we hold. But mostly within the tax credit program, it's making sure that we approve and we go through budgets, scripts, schedules. So at the end of the day, it's all about keeping productions here in California.
That's great. And I would imagine that with a lot of competition, right? I think you were telling me before the chat, right? There are many other places that are competing. So with some of the programs that you have going on and some of the new changes, how do you anticipate that those changes and what you're doing to affect the field?
Absolutely. So as what you mentioned, that is one of the challenges that we have right now, right? Again, from COVID and then the dual strikes that we had last year, a lot of individuals have been truly affected by job loss and mainly just the slow capacity of productions to be to get up and running and
To start
getting
back
back
up.
into production, yeah, and also having these competitive jurisdictions outside of California like New York, Georgia, Vancouver. California is always trying to keep up with these competitiveness, right? But again, California is the entertainment capital of the world. We have great resources here. Our landscape is very diverse. I mean, let's just talk about Long Beach. Okay. Long Beach doubles up for Miami for many productions that we have, not just in the tax credit program, but commercials, TV, documentaries. So we're truly proud of the diverse landscape that we offer here in California, but also the crew base that we have here. A lot of cast members, crew members want to go home to their families at the end of the day, right? So, if the jobs are not here, then that's breaking families apart because if they have to choose to go to Georgia to get a gig and be in this 7, 8 month production, then we don't like that. We want to make sure that we keep the productions here so that at the end of the day, the families are not being torn apart.
That's incredible. That's an incredible viewpoint. And yeah, no, it just kind of highlights the importance of this department and the work that you're doing. So I think that's great. Um, but I want to ask, one of my favorite questions to ask, which is a two-part question.
Okay.
And I know that we've touched on a lot of this, so feel free to pick something else or to reiterate. But
Yeah.
first part being, what is the most challenging part of your job?
The most challenging part of the job. Ooh, do I just give you one or can I make a list? There are many challenges. There are many challenges in this position. And I think how much time do we have? I think 15 minutes would not suffice for the list of these challenges. But I also think that all of these challenges present opportunities for growth.
Mm.
So, whether it's dealing with making sure that we capture all the data that we need in order to substantiate why it's important to have the productions here in California and why we need to expand on these programs, then it's truly beneficial to have that information so that at the end of the day we can fill the gaps and how we can attract and retain productions and grow employment here in California. So at any job, Jenna, I feel like there's so many challenges, but we always like to flip the script and make sure that, when these challenges are thrown at us, then what are some of the opportunities for growth and how can we fill those gaps?
Well, then let me flip the script myself while I ask you the
Yes.
second part of the question,
Yeah.
which is, what is the most rewarding part of your job?
Yeah. That's this one is it's a great question because and I'm gonna focus on our independent producers mainly because we get a lot of questions from independent filmmakers who truly want to have their big break, right?
Yeah,
And
the
I
California
mean,
dream.
the California dream. How do we get you to get there? But let's bring up Everything Everywhere All at Once, the independent movie last year that won the Best Picture award. That's a classic example that a production does not need to be a $200 million, visual effects heavy production in order to be recognized by not just the community, but also by their peers as the Best Picture awardee, right? So it's truly rewarding when we see these independent filmmakers achieve that California dream and get an Oscar for it. I think that's the ultimate reward for them, right?
Do you ever get to go to the Oscars or any award shows?
I wish I could. We have invitations. However, as a government employee, there are rules and regulations in place.
Oh, that's
So
right.
we truly love celebrating our peers, our stakeholders, our applicants from the small screen.
No, that's a great point. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
But hey, maybe the office parties, right? You can get your own little red carpet
absolutely.
going.
Absolutely. And there are these opportunities, as you had mentioned, I'm part of several organizations, so they do host a number of parties, whether it's screening and attending these panels with the filmmakers, which I highly recommend that everybody research different organizations. In terms of the entertainment field, there's always membership opportunities, whether it's a student membership or a recently graduate membership or an alumni membership. Take advantage of those opportunities. I mean, not only because they're like discounted rate, right? You don't have to pay the full amount, but truly pivoting back to what we talked about in terms of making those connections and relationships are key, and that's mainly what I focus on when I attend those events. I mean, it's great to attend, and I pay for my ticket um, to attend these opportunities, whether it's a screening, a panel that I make sure I pay for. Um, but it's again at the end of the day, it's the connections and the relationships that are truly beneficial.
Well, and speaking of which, here at the beach, one of our biggest focus, especially for alumni and student engagement together, is mentorship. You know, how important is, I know networking seems to be so important in your industry, but how important is mentorship? And do you have any mentors? Do you have any mentees?
Yeah, I mean, I could not stress enough how important mentorship is. I mean, as you mentioned, especially in the entertainment industry, right? Well, both in entertainment and government. We do have within the California Film Commission, we do provide a couple of mentorship opportunities within a couple of the career programs that we have at the Film Commission. And then also, as a Filipino American who's in a deputy director role, I think having a mentor, I have a couple of mentors that I speak to very frequently. I think being in this position is a great platform to be, because I have made a personal commitment that, okay, I'm going to use this position to make sure that, you know, an 18-year-old Filipino American could be in this position one day, whether it's a government position or an entertainment position, that it is achievable, that California dream, an Oscar may take a while to get there or may not, right? An Academy Award. But again, being able to provide this opportunity for students, for recent graduates, I think it's key. It's very important.
Mm, absolutely. And, I know that you wanted to talk a little bit about some of the opportunities in the job market and workforce development and what that looks like. So, please how would someone, either a student or an alum who's interested in kind of doing what you do and following in your footsteps, how might they do that?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Jenna. So within the tax credit program, so one of the requirements for, let's say, a TV project or a feature film, they have to participate in two workforce development programs. So first one being the Career Pathways program. So within the tax credit, and not to be so nerdy about the whole jobs ratio calculation and how they get in the program, but once a project gets in, they have to give a financial contribution to this program. And basically the Career Pathways program, we have four different training providers that serve underserved individuals in the industry. So whether it's putting together a PA program or an editor program, it could be a hair and makeup entry level program, and giving them all the tools that and resources that they need. And also providing them soft skills, which I think is a lost art in the last
Hmm.
3 to 4 years coming out of COVID.
Yeah, I
And
was
let
about to
me
say, what
explain
could that have
further.
been?
Yeah, it's like I think it's very important to make sure that we reintroduce how important, you know, looking somebody straight in the eye and having a firm handshake, right? Because I mean, even I'm guilty of being on my phone all the time. But again, these training providers that we have, they make sure that they take an opportunity to, okay, teach soft skills. What are some of the resume building opportunities that we can provide to these up and coming filmmakers? So that's one component of the workforce development program. And then we also have the career readiness program, where we provide five different options for an approved TV project or feature film. They can host a panel. So if we have a class over at Cal State Long Beach, whether it's under the communication studies, education, cinema department, we would set up a number of producers or costume designers to host a panel for a classroom. We also hire interns. We help match interns with the production. And we also have externs, where we have high school or university college professors go visit a set and learn about the latest state of the art technology that's out there. They could, sit in the editing bay and learn about that process, or they can go on set. They can go shadow a script supervisor for the day. That's the other option. And then we can also arrange a studio professional skills tour, where a classroom can do a set visit. And then lastly, a production could also give a financial contribution to either the California Department of Education, the California Community Colleges, the California State University System, or any nonprofit organization of their choice. The one last thing that I do want to note about the new program that's in the pipeline is, since there's going to be a lot of work ahead of us here at the Film Commission, we need to make sure that we have enough bandwidth to do so. And with that said, we have a number of open recruitments right now within the California Film Commission. So if anybody is looking for a unique position, blending government and entertainment, which is very exciting to say the least, please give me a call, send me an email. We have entry level positions all the way up to an analyst position. One of the main requirements for the new program is we have a number of new diversity requirements. So we're looking for a couple of DEIA experts to join the team. So please send me an email, reach out to me. Jenna can give out my contact information,
Absolutely.
and would love to screen some eligible candidates.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is fantastic. I know that a lot of people will be excited about that. And you guys have a lot of work ahead of you, but a lot of exciting and important work.
Thank you. Very
Yeah.
exciting indeed. Yes.
Well, as our time somehow comes to a close, these things always
What?
surprise me. I know, I
Really?
know. I can't believe it either. I wanna ask one final question, which is, if you were able to wave a magic wand or get into a real life time machine and go back to yourself when you graduated from CSULB, let's say the first time, right? When you got that bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
Um, what piece of advice would you give yourself? And then is that advice still applicable to the kids today?
Ah, wow. That's a good one, Jenna. Let me think about that.
Yeah,
Um,
no, yeah.
well, for sure, I would spend less time driving. But, living here in LA, that's somewhat inevitable, right?
Right.
But that goes into saying that I would advise on time management, which is key in either personal or professional life, right? Um, I think I did a great job back then managing time between working full time, going to school, having these internships and production assistant jobs, but truly setting aside some time for our mental health is very important. So, um, mainly working on time management, which also carves out a number of things to the different focus areas that we want to dedicate our time to, whether it's professional upward mobility opportunities, creating relationships, both professionally and personally, but most significantly, setting aside some time for our mental health.
Yeah, that's so important. And I would say it sounds like it does still apply to everyone, right?
100%.
Bur-
Yes.
Burnout, I think, both in the government, civil service and in entertainment,
Yeah.
they must be. I hear it all the time. Those burnout is such a thing in those fields. So marry them together, and wow,
I agree.
absolutely.
I agree
Well,
with you
Leah,
100%.
Well, Leah, thank you so, so much for all of your time with us today. It's been incredibly great speaking with you. And I think that there's a lot of great stuff that folks can get out of this chat. Great advice, a great story, and even some great opportunities coming up. So, what I will say, if you want to get in touch with Leah, sounds like you can email me at jenna.quinn@csulb.edu. And I would be more than happy to get you Leah's contact information. Leah, are you on LinkedIn? That's
Yes.
somewhere people may be able to
LinkedIn,
find you as well.
absolutely. LinkedIn, Leah, Leah Medrano, Medrano. That is LinkedIn. I am also on Instagram at Leah, Leah, California. So please feel free to send me an email. And also my work email is on our website, which is film.ca.gov, or just do a quick Google search of the California Film Commission and you'll find my contact information there.
That is perfect. I think that there are plenty of ways folks can get in touch with you. For those of you who are tuning in, if you want to get in touch with us, we encourage you to, again, reach out to us, follow us on all of our social media, which is at CSUOB Alumni on all of our channels. And again, you can view this again. If you're already viewing it, I think you already found our YouTube channel, but definitely visit us at www.csuob.edu/alumni to see all of our upcoming events. So thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
And Alana, cut the recording. Alana,
Yes, sorry.
cut the recording.
How do I do that?
By hitting stop, you're controlling it. It's okay. We'll edit this out when we put it in there.
Okay. Sorry, we're kind of new to
Oh, good.
the Teams
Platform?
webinar.
Yeah. This is actually the first time I used the Teams webinar. Like,
Yeah.
we use Teams at work, but we always go to Zoom for like our webinar and such. But
Yeah. We used to use Zoom.